Hey everyone and welcome back. Today we are checking out 17 Going Under by the hugely talented Sam Fender. If you would like to vote on the next lesson, you can check out the link to my Patreon page in the description below, where I'll be offering voting rights, exclusive content and also private tuition. And with that in mind, let's get straight into it. So 17 Going Under then, we are going to start by putting the capo on the 6th fret, and I would highly recommend just retuning the guitar. Once you've done that, the strings have a tendency to go a little bit sharp or a bit flat when you put the capo this high up the neck. So the entirety of the song is going to be a 4-chord progression. There's going to be 2 chords you're going to be unfamiliar with, and then 2 chords you will most likely be familiar with. We're going to start all the way up at the 13th fret of the A string. We're then going to bring in our index finger to the 11th fret of the D. Then we've got the open G, and then pinky finger all the way out at the 14th fret of the B. Now this is a very odd looking chord, but it's actually got a very simple name. This is simply a B flat minor chord, and I'll just run you through the theory of that quickly. So we're starting with a B flat note on the A string there, so that's 13th of the A. Then on the D string we're playing the 11th fret, which is a D flat note, and D flat is the minor third to B flat. Then we've got the open G string, which is on the capo at the 6th fret, which is also a D flat note. And then our pinky finger on the 14th of the B is also a D flat note. So we've got the root note and then 3 minor third notes. So this simply becomes a very interesting voicing of a simple B flat minor chord. The second chord is going to be a bit bizarre. We're going to swap over our index and ring fingers, and now we're going to be at the 11th of the A and then 13th of the D. We're also going to push back our pinky finger from the 14th back to the 13th. And this one's a bit of an odd one. We've got A flat here, which is going to be the root of the chord, and it's also the key signature of the song as well. So we've got A flat, then we've got E flat on the 13th of the D, which is the 5th of A flat. So we've got our power chord here. Then we've got our pinky finger, 13th of the B, which is a C note, which is the major third of A flat. So initially we've got a nice simple A flat major, but we're also going to add in the open G. And that open G note is a D flat note, which is going to be the 4th of A flat. So we've got this very bizarre A flat add 4 chord. So it gives the chord a slightly suspended quality to it. If you want to as well, you could also play this chord with the open high E string. And we start to get into some very complicated territory at this point. Obviously the open E string is the 6th of the high E with the capo, and that's a B flat note, and B flat is the 2nd note of A flat, and because it's played at the octave, it then becomes the 9th note. So in a bizarre turn of events, you've got a very mixed sort of added suspended chord, if that makes sense. So you've got an A flat major add 4, but also an add 9 as well. Personally, I prefer just to simply play it with the G string and ignore the high E string. I think there's a bit more clarity in the chord that way, but I'll leave that one up to you to decide. Anyway, we've then got 2 very simple chords afterwards. We've got this G shape, which is a simple D flat major. So that's middle finger there, index, open D, open G, and then ring finger. And then simply we're going to take these 2 down a string, so that's going to be A string and D string. And that would usually be our C add 9 chord, but because of the capo, we've now got a G flat add 9. So once again, to recap, we have got B flat minor. Then we've got our A flat add 4. Then we've got D flat and G flat add 9. The rhythm of 17 going under is just going to sound like this. So for the rhythm, we're going to start up at the 13th of our A. We'll play the A string first, then the D string. Then we're going to play the open G and B strings together, and we're going to play those twice. And when we do so, we're going to do all of these with alternate picks. So every time we do a pick, it will be a downstroke, then an upstroke afterwards. At this point, we're going to make a very quick change over to our A flat chord, and that's going to be very tricky. I would recommend just practicing that one a little bit. Anyway, we're then going to do the same thing again, and that's going to be A string, then D string. Then we're going to play the rest of the chord, including the D string. So far together. At this point, we're going to go into a very specific strumming pattern where we're going to strum the chord from the D, G and B strings. We're going to go up and then down, then pause, then we'll go up and down again, then we'll pause once again, then we'll go up, down and up. It sounds like this. And from the top. At this point, we'll go back to the A string, then D string, then the rest of the chord. Then we'll do another up and downstroke, then pause, then another up and downstroke. So all together. At this point, we're very quickly going to move over to our G shape, so our D flat chord. And we're going to start by playing the E string, then the A string, and then the rest of the chord. Then we'll do the same thing with our G flat add 9 chord, so we'll do the A string, then D string, then the rest of the chord. And then we'll go into another very specific strumming pattern where we'll go up and down, then up and down, then up, down and up. Then we'll go back to the D flat chord, we'll play the E string, then A string, then the rest of the chord. Then we'll go up and down, up and down. And at that point we'll then jump back up to our B flat minor chord and cycle the progression. And that's a very difficult jump to do. It took me a little bit to practice that one, so I would highly recommend focusing on that change. Very slowly, altogether it sounds like this. Let's have a look at the example one more time. With that, we'll conclude our lesson on 17 Going Under by Sam Fender. The only other additional note I would add in is that as the song progresses and as it opens up, you can think about dropping some of that rigid playing and then swapping it out for some more sort of loose strumming, particularly when the drums come in and you're into, the final chorus. I can appreciate it will be very difficult to play that same pattern over and over again for about 5 minutes. So if you think it's necessary, please do drop playing it, so rigidly, and then strum the chords if it's a bit easier. And with that in mind, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next lesson.